Welcome to Sideline to Sideline, the nation's #1 sports podcast, with your host, Brandon Hignite and Taylor Roberts.
What's going on, Taylor?
What's going on, Brandon? How you doing?
Doing good, man. We got some big time news in the recruiting world. So we're gonna go to my notes here and see what we got.
All right, let's
So we
dive
got
into it.
5-star Michael Williams decommits from USC and then commits to UGA, so he flips there. We got a pair of corners for or a linebacker and a corner for Florida. They both decommit. A 4-star Shamar James and 5-star Julio Humphreys. Two big losses. I can't blame them. The Florida Gators are tumbling downhill right now, and it's a dumpster fire. And then we got 5-star Bear Williams, defensive lineman, commits to UGA. UGA is on the upcline in the recruiting news there.
Look, if the Florida Gators want to get some new recruits in there and get some talent, they need to figure out their quarterback situation, man.
Oh no, we know the answer. We all know that you said it last. You said
AR
it last
15.
week. You said it
AR-15.
Now, speaking of the Gators, I'll just throw this in here. Dan Mullen did say that both quarterbacks will be playing against UGA, so there is not one bona fide starter.
That can work, but that's a pretty risky move to take. I mean, you're not giving one quarterback the confidence they need to go out there and take on that role and do well, personally.
100%. To me, it shows that he's loyal to Emory Jones, and I think it's going to end up shooting himself in the foot.
Look, loyalty goes a long way, but at some point you have to stop, reevaluate the situation, and go with the better talented player, and that is AR-15.
Yeah, and that's why Nick Saban will probably be is the greatest college coach of all time, because even when Jalen Hurts was got him to the national championship, he was not afraid to pull him for his abysmal play and put Tua in there to win the national title that year. So let's go and
you see Lincoln Riley. He's doing the same thing there. Yeah, he's doing the same thing. Spencer Rattler was the Heisman candidate, and he pulled him, benched him last season, benched him this season. So these coaches are taking note and going with the flow. Dan Mullen needs to get on it.
Yeah, I know Sooners fans out there are probably happy. Spencer, we talked about it last week. He's probably going to be transferring. His draft stock has plummeted. He's no longer considered a first-round pick. And I think it's best that he go try to find a coach. My pick, personal, is Arizona State or Chip Kelly over there at UCLA or Herm Edwards at Arizona State. They can maybe right his ship. But those are my two options for Spencer Rattler. I don't think he should go pro at all.
Agreed. Well, with that said, let's move on to the next topic here.
We got this seasons of upsets. We've had so many upsets this year. This past weekend, we had App State beating Coastal Carolina 30-27, and there was a Instagram DM from a Coastal Carolina player to an App State player who basically said before the game, "You're going down, get on our level." And App State came and said, used them as doormat on their way out with the dub.
Yeah.
So what a game there.
If you're going to be cocky, you got to show up and back it up, man. You can't just talk that talk and then not come out and produce some good football. You can't do that, man.
I will tell you what, man. That App State Coastal Carolina game, though, produced a lot of mullets.
No.
And our next upset is Wisconsin beats number 25 Purdue 30-13, which is a shocker because Purdue beat Iowa later this year when Iowa was ranked number 3. So they're just they're going downhill. I don't know they're unranked now. I don't know what's up with Purdue.
I don't know. Iowa State, though, when they were ranked number 3, that was really early in the season. They're definitely not the football team everybody thought they were going to be, so I wouldn't put that too close to Purdue's name, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
It was an upset at the time, but Iowa State's really not anything to really be hype about.
Iowa.
So I don't think Purdue is what we thought Purdue was going to be either. So
yeah, I think that was an upset, but not an upset as much as people thought originally. I mean, you're 25, so you're on the cusp.
Yeah.
And they're more of a basketball school. But they're on the come up. I'll give them that. So our last upset, man, we got to get into this. This is wild. 9 overtimes. Illinois versus Penn State. Number 7 Penn State. Illinois comes out with the dub at 20-18 with that
That's
finish.
just insane. I mean, you would expect it to be a higher score considering the amount of overtimes they went into, but it definitely did not live up to the hype we thought a 9 overtime game would give us.
No. And I mean, the new overtime rules, they're pretty intense. Let's go in and go to that first graphic there. Let me actually get it up because for some reason it's not showing up. There we go. All right, so I put the graphic up there for everyone watching at home. But the new overtime rules for NCAA are at the end of the regulation, the referee will toss a coin to determine which team will possess the ball first in overtime. So that's normal. The visiting team captain will call the toss. The winner gets to choose either play offense or defense or choose which side of the field. That's all normal. That decision cannot be deferred, so you have to make a choice. The team that loses the coin toss must exercise the remaining option. That's normal. And then you go into your normal overtime period where you go on the 25-yard line in college football. Both get a chance to score a touchdown. In each of the first 2 overtime periods, however, they're granted 1 possession, again at the 25-yard line. The offense can place the ball anywhere or in between the hash marks. So anywhere on the field they want. It can be in the middle, side, whatever. And each team is granted 1 timeout per overtime period. Timeouts do not carry over from regulation or in between overtime periods. Each team retains the ball until it fails to score, fails to make a first down, or turns the ball over. Beginning with the second overtime period, teams must attempt a 2-point conversion after scoring a touchdown. So there's no more field goals going for it or anything like that. Obviously, we saw in the first 2 overtime regulations, Illinois and Penn State both scored a field goal. However, that wasn't enough to obviously end the game. So they go on to that where they have to score a touchdown or a 2-point conversion. Beginning with the third overtime period, teams will begin to run alternating 2-point conversions plays instead of offense possession. So it just goes back and forth, back and forth, and back and forth. The NCAA, so we'll go back to, there we go. All right, so the NCAA implemented that for this upcoming season to limit the amount of snaps players are playing for safety and just make the games go over quickly. What are your thoughts on the new overtime rules?
I like it. It's a lot better than the way the NFL has handled the overtime situation. So I like everything that they've implemented. It doesn't really wear on the players too much whenever you go into 9 overtimes. It's not like you're playing 3 extra games after you just finished a full game. But for those that say, no, I don't like that overtime, or the players saying, no, this overtime sucks or whatever, win the game then. Don't put yourself in a position to be at a tie at the end of the ball game. Go out there, grind every second, every minute, every play, every down, score, get some points on the board, and avoid the situation. And then you have nothing to complain about.
I would 100% agree. I would say college overtime rules, these new ones are more exciting to watch than the NFL. Me and my dad were watching the game, and we were on the edge of our seats. We're like,
Yeah.
And I think these rules are better too because it doesn't matter about a coin toss. Like in the NFL and the pro leagues, if you win the coin toss, there's a pretty good chance that you're going to win the game, because the other team doesn't get the ball.
Yeah.
But in college, even if the other team scores, it's not game over. You still got a chance. So you got to find that dog mentality in you, score a touchdown and match point to point, and whoever comes in on top.
I don't want to get too deep into the NFL's overtime rules or anything, but I firmly believe that if you do make it to the overtime, both teams scored, let's say 28 points, whatever the score may be. Both teams deserve to get an opportunity to score a touchdown, field goal, whatever it is. You both worked hard to get to that position. Why does one team get the opportunity to score a touchdown and seal the game right then and there? That just makes no sense to me, personally.
100%. I agree there. So our next thing we're talking about is a new AP poll, or Penn State kind of falls to 20, and the AP poll gets shuffled up a little bit. We're going to go on to our next segment of Agree to Disagree, talking about the AP poll. We're going to go with our first thing, Oklahoma versus Alabama's ranking. Alabama is ranked number 4. Oklahoma is ranked at number 3. Do you think that Oklahoma should be ranked ahead of Alabama. And I think you took the position of you disagree that Alabama should be ranked ahead.
Yeah, I firmly believe that Alabama has a better football program, bigger, stronger, faster players than Oklahoma does. Oklahoma's defense is just whack. I mean, they look like a D2 school at best on the defensive side of the ball. Their offensive side of the ball, you've got the drama between the two quarterbacks, who's starting, who's getting benched, whatever. So that causes a little bit of controversy within the team, throws people off. You just saw they just went up against a 1-5 team. I mean, barely beat them.
Mhm.
You know, you put Alabama in that position, Alabama's beating them 10 times out of 10. So
Now I'm going to have to disagree there. I'm going to go with fourth quarter, game on the line. Who you want at quarterback? I'm going Caleb Williams, sir. Caleb Williams. Oh, man. Kind of like,
yeah, I got your little Max Kellerman in you
Yeah.
there.
I'm going Caleb Williams, man. I think he turned the Sooners program around 1080, 180, whatever you want to call it. He's taking the team down the field no matter what. I think he makes up for that poor defense. And I think that in a shootout, yes, Alabama has, like if they were to play each other, yes, Alabama has some good receivers and good running backs and they're a good offensive line. And Bryce Young's been playing pretty well this year for a freshman quarterback. But I think Caleb Williams has a higher skill set. And when it comes down to the draft, I think Caleb Williams will probably be taken higher. I think Caleb Williams has that it factor that can make up for bad team play. Kind of like a Trevor Lawrence of Clemson last year. Obviously, you see how Clemson's doing without him. I think he has that it factor. And I think Oklahoma is a favorite in the playoffs, in my opinion. Alabama, they lost to Texas A&M. And at the end of the day, for rankings, one's undefeated, one's not. So
it's true.
For right now, you have to go with the undefeated team. Our next topic for agree to disagree is the Caleb Williams. Speaking of Caleb Williams, the Caleb Williams
man himself.
Play. All right, I think you listen. As much as I agree that Caleb Williams is an amazing player, that play where he ripped the ball from his running back's hands and got a first down, that should be illegal. 100%. I
have to disagree with you there, man. Look, he didn't pass the ball. He didn't hand the ball off. Technically, it was ripped out of his hands. It didn't go to a lineman. It didn't go to an illegal player or whatever. He had a heads-up play. From what I can remember, it may have been past the line of scrimmage. It may have been behind it. But if it was behind it, that should be a completely legal play. And in my eyes, if it's beyond the line of scrimmage, it should be a legal play as well. I mean, you took a play that was about to be a loss for a yard or two.
Well, see, here's the thing, right? If it's past the line of scrimmage, I'm going to have to disagree there. If it's past, because he was in front of the running back. Now, if it's past the line of scrimmage and he was behind the running back and took it and then ran for the first down, I'd be like, okay, that's legal because he's behind the running back. But it's just like a hook and ladder play, right? The receiver catches it above the past the line of scrimmage. He can throw it back to the running back that's coming out to the flats. That's legal. And so I would say, in a counterpoint, that would make that legal. But the fact that Caleb Williams was in front of the running back, snatched the ball out like it was backyard football, and got a first down, I think counterpoint.
I think the defining factor here is what you just said. He snatched the ball. The ball wasn't thrown. The ball wasn't tossed. Nothing like that. So it wasn't a forward pass or anything like that. I think it was just a great heads-up play. Got the Sooners the first down that they needed to finish off that drive strong, and I think that should be implemented, that if that ever happens again, it should be legal. But
what happened, what stops teams from doing that then? You can just do it all the time now. And
do it.
He said, do it. Do it.
If you can do it and you can pull it off and you can gain yards, why not? That's like saying, oh, I shouldn't be able to throw to Odell Beckham Jr. and score a touchdown. Why not?
I mean, Mayfield can't do that, apparently.
I mean, hey.
That's another topic, though.
He can't do it whenever his boy's injured on the sideline. But hey,
that's true.
On to the next topic here.
All right. On to the next topic. We're going to talk about agree to disagree on Cincinnati at number 2. Do you agree that Cincinnati should be ranked number 2?
No. I think it was a little aggressive to even push them that far up. They haven't played anybody, in my opinion, other than Notre Dame, and Notre Dame is an overranked, overrated team from the beginning of the season. I don't think they've shown us enough.
No, I will agree there on the Notre Dame part. I think Notre Dame they've got some pieces, but they don't have a complete team. I think they're overrated. I think they're a middle of pack team, if anything. But I think that Ritter, the quarterback from Cincinnati, is lighting it up this season. They're undefeated. You can't take that from them.
No, I can't take that from him.
Lighting it up. He's in the Heisman race. You got Sauce Gardner out there on DB. He's gonna be right now. He's outside of Stingley. He's ranked like potentially the number one cornerback to be drafted. So I mean they have a good defense. They have a pretty good offense. At number 2, I think they should be ranked top 4. So I mean it's gonna be kind of like a wish wash.
Let me put it to you this way: if Cincinnati this Saturday went up against Ohio State, who's winning that game?
Cincinnati.
No, Ohio State, hands down. If Cincinnati goes up against Alabama this Sunday or this Saturday, who's winning?
Listen,
Alabama.
Ritter,
if they go up against Georgia,
Ritter
who's
ain't
winning?
No quitter.
Georgia. He needs to quit if he goes up against a Power 5 school like Ohio State or Alabama.
I don't know, man. Ohio State, man. Come on now.
Look, I'm telling you.
Cincinnati's the better Ohio team.
Who, as of right now, standings-wise, yes.
Well, I'm glad we agree there.
Look, all I'm saying is Cincinnati would probably lose to Miami Oxford if they went and played them again.
No, get out of here. Get out of here. Get out. Cincinnati's the best team.
As of right now, yes. But I'm saying if Ohio State had the chance to play Cincinnati, Ohio State would win and they would be the best team in Ohio.
We're going to have to disagree there. I think Cincinnati's properly ranked for right now. At least top 4 to me.
We'll see. We'll see as the season continues here.
All right. So speaking of Ritter, and we talked about Bryce Young a little bit and Caleb Williams. We're gonna go into these quarterback draft class. We got Malik Williams, we got Matt Carroll, and that's pretty much it. This upcoming that draft eligible quarterbacks. So, do you think this is the worst draft, like college quarterback draft class in recent memory? And if not, which draft class is worse?
Oh no, this is the worst. If you're an NFL team and you're looking for a quarterback, find somebody who's already in the league. Yeah. Okay, do a trade, pick up somebody who's looking for a job. Find a janitor who's sweeping up the stadium right now. Get them in a suit. Get them out there, have them play, because this draft class is dookie.
Yeah, and I will say on this, I think Malik Willis from Liberty, he's gonna be a good quarterback. I think he's got a lot of potential. Matt Carroll, I think in a normal draft class would probably go bottom of the first, beginning of second, and more a second round quarterback. In my opinion, I don't think he's a bad quarterback. But I think that he's more middle of the pack quarterback than he is top tier. And I think that this draft class is going to push him higher than when he really needs to go. I don't think.
With all this said, I just want to make this point. While this draft class does not look promising, just remember where Tom Brady was drafted. Just look at his college career.
World War
You
II.
can find a diamond in the rough if you look hard enough. And you get the right pieces around them, get them in there, and they can start producing for you. So,
I agree. You got Dak Prescott went in the 4th round. Russell Wilson went 3rd round. You can find these gems, and I think personally, in this draft class, there might be a couple, but I don't see it overall.
Yeah.
It's just there's no one that really sticks out. Like everyone had Spencer, everyone had DJ from Clemson. DJ got benched last week, even though you told Clemson not to bench him, and his backup sucked too. So, I don't know. Clemson's got no one at quarterback. Their backup's a 4-star prospect, and he was absolute trash. So,
regardless, I'm still going to be excited to see where these guys go and what they can do once they get drafted, if they even get drafted.
Yeah.
Because, nothing's ever promised. But I'm still excited to see what they do. And as always, regardless of what I say on this show, I always hope for the success of each and every single player, no matter where they go.
100%. You don't ever wish down on anybody. I mean, Emory Jones is probably going to come out. He'll probably go 6th round, 7th round, maybe undrafted. But I still wish him a successful potential backup career. So, no shot at you, Emory. Much love, man. Just, yeah.
All right. I believe we need to transition into our next topic here. I think this is
the top 25.
Top 25 teams.
Let me get that pulled up here. Forgot to write that down. That's my apologies. I ran out of paper space.
I mean, the top 25 has been just shuffled all season long. I mean, there's been teams bouncing in and out and in and out all season long. It's hard to keep up with who's even sitting at that 25 spot. I mean,
exactly.
It's probably a school that's never been in the top 25 before. You know, it's week by week. It's just hard to keep up with who's transitioning back into the top 25.
Yeah.
I think SMU's still up there, right?
I guess we'll find out. I got the games pulled up here, so you ready to run through them?
Yeah, let's do it.
First game is Troy versus number 24, Coastal Carolina.
Coastal Carolina had a little rough upset this past week, but I think they're going to come back and win this game.
Come back and win it. I will say Troy's 4-3 this year. I think Troy upsets Coastal Carolina. I think Coastal Carolina is pretenders.
I just want to let you know I'm writing that down right now. He's saying Troy's going to get that upset over Coastal. All right.
It's a Trojan horse, man. Right? It's a Trojan horse. Coastal Carolina is going to open the gate and go, "Oh, thank you for the gift." No. Bam! An L was the gift, disguised as a W.
Hey, I've got it written down right here with your name next to it.
Now we got number 1 Georgia versus Florida as the next game up. I'll let you go.
Georgia,
first.
next game.
No, I'm gonna have to listen. I think Georgia. But Georgia and Florida, the past, I can't remember years, but they've gone 3 years Georgia wins, 3 years Florida wins, and last year Florida won. I think the Gators potentially turn it around, and might be a surprise. I'm going Georgia. Listen, I'm going Georgia, but I think I would not be surprised if somehow Florida, especially if Anthony Richardson gets the majority of the snaps, I would not be surprised if Florida somehow pulls that upset.
Look, if you're telling me right now Georgia loses this week, that means Cincinnati is number 1 in the nation. Get out of here. Hey, Georgia all the way.
Listen, Cincinnati's top 4, and it's not 4, 3, or 2. It's number 1 in my heart.
Nope.
All right. Well, speaking of Cincinnati, Cincinnati's the next game. Number 2 Cincinnati versus Tulane. 1-6 Tulane. I swear, if you pick Tulane.
I had Tulane winning last week. Okay. I had them for the upset. They didn't pull it off. Going Cincinnati because Tulane's a trash school and Cincinnati has a soft schedule this year.
All right, I will give Cincinnati there. All right, we got 2 ranked teams going against each other, both up there in the Midwest, Michigan and Michigan State. Both Michigan's ranked number 6 and Michigan State's number 8.
That is a tough one. Both teams are competing on high levels, and I'm going to say Michigan because Harborough, he needs it, man. I think if he has another terrible ending to his season, I think he might be out of a job soon. So I'm going Michigan. They've been playing some really good ball, and I'm also predicting this is later down the road, but I'm also predicting Michigan to beat Ohio State. Everybody in the comments that's an Ohio State fan, you can come for me. I'm here. I'll give you my number. You can text me, call me, whatever. We can discuss. But I'm going Michigan over Michigan State.
All right. I'm going to go with Michigan State here. I think that Michigan State's got a solid defense. They got a solid offense. I think the corner, Cheston Kimbrough, he's a Florida transfer. He's up there in the nation for interceptions. He's locking it down. He's got Kimbrough Island over there. I think that Michigan State, it's not really an upset. I think Michigan State wins by a close one. I don't think it's going to be a shootout.
All right.
Our next one's going to be number 9 Iowa and versus unranked Wisconsin. Now, Wisconsin did upset. Who did they upset? Purdue. Yeah, Purdue. So,
I think Purdue's losing this one.
You mean Iowa and Wisconsin?
Yeah, got me all mixed up here. I had it in my head. I was like, I'm going to say it right here.
So who you got, Iowa or Wisconsin?
Definitely not Purdue. I'm going with Wisconsin taking the loss on this game.
All right, so you're going to Iowa. I'm going to have to go Iowa as well. I think they're still a solid team, regardless of that one loss this season. We got number 16, Baylor versus Texas.
Texas is a good team. Texas has, in my opinion, the best running back right now in all of college football.
No arguments here.
But Baylor's playing some decent football. I feel like it's probably going to come down between Baylor and Oklahoma for the Big 12 championship, but I'm going to say Texas gets the upset over Baylor.
Okay, upset alert. Gonna have to put that one out.
I'll write that one down. I'm going to write this one down. Baylor losing to Texas.
All right, we got that written down in the books. We're going to hold you accountable.
I'm here all day, every day.
I'm going to have to go with Baylor here. I think Baylor's playing some good football. Probably the best football they've played since RG3.
Yeah.
I think they come out with Tech, but I think it's going to be a close game because Bijan Robinson out of Texas, phenomenal running back, as you were just mentioning. We're going to move on to number 17, Pittsburgh versus Miami.
Pittsburgh.
Yeah, Pittsburgh. I think that's pretty shut door right there. We're going to number 22, Iowa State versus West Virginia.
Iowa State.
Iowa State there. I would have to agree. That's, again, another pretty close game. Or not close game, but easy game to decide. Yep. We got Texas Tech versus the Sooners.
Texas Tech, I believe they just fired their head coach, so they're gonna have some ground to make up there based off of that. So I'm gonna go with the Sooners on that one. I think that's gonna cause a little chaos for the Red Riders.
I would agree. I would go with Caleb Williams and the Sooners again. Caleb Williams, as you heard me earlier, I think he's phenomenal. I think he's got that it factor, and I don't think Texas Tech is really that program right now. I will say Texas Tech firing their head coach is probably dumb because Cliff Kingsbury, who's the head coach of the only undefeated team in the NFL, when he coached at Texas Tech, had the exact same record as the coach they have now, and they just got rid of him. I think they're changing up their head coach too many times. I think it's going to hurt the program.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. I mean, getting rid of a coach this late into the season is not going to fare well for your recruiting either. So we'll see how that plays out for them.
We're going to go to number 7, Oregon versus a 2-5 Colorado team.
Oregon.
Yeah, Oregon. That's easy. We got Duke and number 13, Wake Forest, both NC North Carolina schools.
I believe Wake Forest played Army last week, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah, yes. Put up 70 points.
Yeah, so I think I'm gonna go with Wake Forest here, beating out the old Blue Devils, Duke.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to say that Wake Forest takes a dookie this one, and they put up 70 against Army. I think they get pretty close this time against Duke as well to put up another 70 burger. We have number 10 ranked Ole Miss and Matt Carroll, who's a top quarterback prospect, and number 18 Auburn and Bo Nix.
I'm going Ole Miss. I just like the football they're playing this year.
I would agree. Lane Kiffin has that program on the uprise. I know there's reports of Lane Kiffin potentially leaving if Dan Mullen gets fired to Florida or potentially going to the USC job, but I think he's pretty solid at Ole Miss. He's a pretty good coach, and his tweets are pretty funny to laugh at.
I've always liked Lane Kiffin, even when he was under Alabama's head coach. I can't think of his name right now. Nick Saban. I don't know why I was drawing a blank there, but I've always liked him. He's just been a likable guy. I feel like the players like him too. So
100%. Now we're gonna go to. I'm gonna have to go with Ole Miss there before we move on to give my prediction. But I would not be surprised if Auburn takes that dub. Yeah. We had number 12, Kentucky versus Mississippi State. In my opinion, Kentucky gets a dub. I think that's pretty shut in case.
Yeah, Kentucky's got that one locked up.
Then we got Kansas, number 15, Oklahoma State.
Oklahoma State for sure.
Yeah, I mean these are pretty, again, easy games to call. I'm gonna go Oklahoma State. We got number 19, SMU, who you had a Tulane upsetting last week versus Houston.
I'm going to give it to SMU this week.
Don't doubt SMU.
Tulane did me dirty. I got you, SMU.
All right, you can write this one down. This is the week SMU gets upset by a six
Oh,
and one Houston team. Now I'm not going to go
okay.
Tulane upsetting SMU, but a 6-1 Houston team can beat a 7-0
All
ranked
right. Let's
SMU team. So that's my
let's write
upset.
that one down. That's your second upset, I believe, isn't
Yep,
it?
it is.
SMU. All right.
I think SMU goes down this week. Now we're going to go on to number 20 Penn State, who just suffered an upset loss to Illinois. Maybe a wake up call. They're going against Ohio State, number 5.
Ooh, that's a tough game to come back from. 9 overtimes, losing like that to Illinois. I think Penn State's going to lose this one, and that's going to bump them out of the top 25.
I would agree. I think Ohio State, they're firing all cylinders. They got Chris Olive and C.J. Stroud over there at quarterback, and Trayvon Henderson, that freshman running back, phenomenal running back. You haven't seen a running back at Ohio State since Ezekiel Elliott. I think he's phenomenal. I'm going Ohio State. We got North Carolina and number 11 Notre Dame.
This is specific for a certain viewer out there that might tune into this program. UNC is a garbage football program. Mac Brown is a garbage coach for this program. UNC's not winning a national championship in football. Not this year, not next year, not in the next 5 years. Notre Dame is going to beat them, like I called it at the beginning of the season, even though Notre Dame is an overrated football program. Notre Dame taking the dub.
Notre Dame's taking the dub on that one. I have to agree. Number 25 BYU versus Virginia.
I'll go with the old upset, Virginia.
Going Virginia. They're both 6-2, so I would agree. I'm gonna have to go with Virginia that game too. I just don't think BYU is the same since they lost Zach Wilson.
Yeah, so I'll lock that in as an upset.
Yeah, and that last game we have is Fresno State versus 21 San Diego State. So 2 California teams there. Who you got?
We'll go San Diego.
All right, San Diego. I'm gonna have to go with San Diego. I think a great man, an anchor man, once said, Ron Burgundy. San Diego stands for.
You know the rest. Let's
the
move on
rest.
to the
Let's
next segment here.
All right. So again, like most college athletes, we're going pro to the NFL. We're gonna do 32 and 2, running down all 32 teams and all the games. Just giving our little input. We got 2 minutes. We're gonna go. I'm gonna give you the game, Taylor. Your input on the 2 teams, and then I'll go the next game. 2 inputs of the 2 teams, and we'll just keep reversing that for 2 minutes.
All right. Works. Let's do it.
So, our first game is 2 minutes on the clock. We got the Browns versus the Broncos, where the Browns won 17-14. Your thoughts?
Browns still need Baker Mayfield. That was not a Case Keenum win. And the Broncos, I don't know what's going on with you guys. You guys started 3-0. You're just following in the Panthers' footsteps right now. Figure it out.
Yeah. All right. So we got the Falcons and Dolphins. The Falcons win 30-28. Kyle Pitts, man, 168 yards receiving. What a game for the standout rookie. Yeah. I think he's coming into his own. I think the Falcons are finally realizing they need to get number 8 the ball. It's still weird seeing tight end wear number 8. It's just going to take some time getting used to. But I think he's lighting it up. I don't think Calvin Ridley is the answer as the number 1 option over there in Atlanta. I think he's a solid number 2. And he's also number 2. He's Dookie. I think he's overrated. I think Kyle Pitts is a long-term answer. However, he doesn't play wide receiver. So I think that the Falcons will probably go receiver in the first round. To the Dolphins are the Dolphins. Tua, you played well, but you're the Dolphins. All right, so the next game, Taylor, this is for you. The Bengals and the Ravens. The Bengals come out on top 41-17. Your thoughts?
Bengals, where has this been? Come on. The city of Cincinnati has needed you for a long time, and you have not shown up. But this season you have. You guys are making an entire fan base proud. I love Joey Burrow. I love everything about the Bengals, just the wide receiver core, the running backs, everything about that organization. I love seeing them win. Ravens, I know you guys got a lot of injuries going on this season, but you guys got one of the best quarterbacks in the entire league, Lamar Jackson, who can run the ball more than any running back in the league other than Derrick Henry. Utilize that a little more. Figure out how you can get some more wins under your belt with all these injuries. I just sad to see the Baltimore Ravens go down this bad this year so far.
All right, next we got the Panthers versus the Giants. The Giants come out 25-3. I think Danny Dimes is the quarterback. I think that the offensive coordinator there and Jason Garrett is the problem with the Giants. Danny Dimes has turned it around. His first 3 games, he sucked, but he's been turning around the last 4 games. Hasn't had a passer rating below 90%, so that's pretty good. Puts him at the top of the league. And for the Panthers, Sam Darnold is who we thought Sam Darnold was, and we let him off the hook.
Yep.
He's the same Sam Darnold as he was with the Jets, as he is with the Panthers. I'm sorry, Panthers fans. We're going to go on with the Pats versus the Jets. The Pats beat the Jets 54-13. Your thoughts?
Sucks to see Wilson go down like that. They just traded with the Eagles to get Joe Flacco, the quarterback starting position. I'm excited to see that happen. Joe Flacco is an accomplished quarterback. I'd like to see what he's got going on in this day of age with his old self. Hopefully he can get a good season going for the Jets, because we all know they need it. Patriots, Mac Jones is looking Tom Brady-esque, as everybody said he was. He's not there yet. I'm not saying like he's the GOAT or anything like that. Man. But I think they may have made the right decision in keeping Mac Jones over Cam Newton as far as longevity goes. The team still needs a couple of pieces tweaked, and they need to find a couple more key playmakers, but overall, Patriots are doing good this season, doing better than everybody thought you would. So congratulations on that.
All right. So I got the Chiefs versus the Titans. The Titans come out on top 27-3. What a game. Chiefs, I'm going to talk about your quarterback a little bit later on in the show, but Derrick Henry was like, hey, I'm not in talks with the MVP. You have to be a quarterback. You have to throw touchdowns. How about I throw more touchdowns than Pat Mahomes this game? He throws 1 touchdown and had an amazing game rushing. I think the Titans are on the upward look. I think they are a solid team. I think they're going to take the playoffs by storms. And the Chiefs, listen, I don't know what's going on. Pat Mahomes is playing like that of his Texas Tech days, where it's a throw it up and hope God someone's there. And he needs to turn it around. I think he can turn it around, I will say that, but he needs to turn it around. So our next game is going to be Packers versus the football team. Packers come out 24-10. That's your game. Taylor, go ahead.
I've got nothing for Washington. You already know what I've got to say for you guys. I mean, sign Cam Newton. That's it. If you want to beat the Packers, sign Cam Newton. That's it. Packers, I mean, everything's firing on all cylinders right now. That just goes to show you that the hype over that first loss that they had in the season was unwarranted. I mean, it was 1 game. I think everybody kind of gave Aaron Rodgers a little too much crap than he truly deserved for that game, because they're on a roll right now. So all I've got to say is sign Cam Newton. I don't know how many times I have to say it. Sign the man.
All right. We're going on to the Rams versus the Lions. The Rams get the W 28-19. I think Matthew Stafford's playing well. I think the Rams are playing well. Nothing much to say there. Just keep doing what you're doing. And the Lions, you'll probably get your first win against the Eagles this upcoming week. Bears and the Bucks. Bucks win 38-3. Your opinion?
It definitely was not a Mitch Trubisky problem. That's all I have to say. There's something else going on in that organization, and I think we all know what it is, and that man needs to be fired ASAP. Bucks looking good as usual. Got Tom Brady the whole 9 yards. Tom Brady giving away a signed jersey, signed helmet. Evans giving away a signed jersey, cleats. The fans getting a Bitcoin, $1,000 for the store at the Buck shop. All for Tom Brady's 600th touchdown pass ball. I think that fan made out quite well, honestly, in my personal opinion.
Well. We got 24 seconds on the clock. So our next game is Texas and Cardinals. What can I say? Cardinals are firing on all cylinders. Zach Ertz tore it up in his first game in a crimson uniform. Kyler Murray is playing like Kyler Murray. I don't know if they'll be beat. I mean, they will be eventually beat, but I don't know when. And as far as the Texans, figure it out. You got the next game is 49ers versus the Colts. We got to wrap it up here.
Wentz looking phenomenal out there. Colts looking like an actual football team now. I don't know what changed, but you guys are rolling. 49ers. Trey Lance, maybe? That's all I got.
That's a quote. Trey Lance, maybe?
Yeah.
Who put a question mark on the teleprompter? We're doing another Anchorman quote. And the last game, the Saints versus the Seahawks. The Saints come out on top with the W. The Seahawks, Geno Smith, obviously, is Geno Smith. He's not who we thought he was. Outside of that, touchdown, DK Metcalf, 84 yards to start the game off. It is what it is. We are at a time, however, we're going into overtime, Taylor. We're going to talk about the Seahawks. You really wanted to talk about the Seahawks, so I'm going to give you this overtime. Go ahead. You get 1 minute to discuss the Seahawks. One extra minute.
Man, oh, man. What do I have to say about the Seahawks? First off, last night, you're going up against the Saints. You have Lockett and you have DK Metcalf. You hit DK twice, one of which was an 84-yard touchdown. And then that's it. You didn't give him the ball again. Your best offensive player at the moment, and you don't give him the ball. I don't know if that's a no trust in Geno Smith issue or if it's just a poor coaching issue. And Pete Carroll needs to figure that out. Secondly, if the Seahawks want to keep Russell Wilson, if the Seahawks want to win football games, if the Seahawks want to keep Russell Wilson healthy, because he is aging right now. He's still mobile. He's still fairly healthy for how long he's been in the NFL. You have to get an offensive line to protect the man. He's not going to be here forever. He's not going to be able to run around forever. He's going to eventually slow down. You got to find a way to protect him. If you keep him in the pocket and give him the time he needs to look downfield.
Let you finish your thought, but I'll give you the 1 minute is up. You finish your thought.
If you give him that time, you guys will win football games and possibly go to another Super Bowl with Russell Wilson. That's all I got to say. Find an offensive line.
All right. Overtime over. This past week, we celebrated National Tight Ends Day. So happy belated National Tight Ends Day. We're going to give you our top 5 tight ends this season and coordinates of this national holiday. So we got Taylor's top 5. He's got Mark Andrews, Dalton Schultz, Dawson Knox, Darren Waller, Kyle Pitts. I'm over there with Travis Kelce, Mark Andrews, Kyle Pitts, Mike Gesicki, and Darren Waller. So we got a little bit of change up there. All right, I'll let you talk about your top 5. Go and talk about them.
Mark Andrews is playing some football. I mean, come on, the dude's lighting it up, especially with an injured squad. I mean, I don't know who else they were going to go to, but he's playing some good football. The only other person I really want to talk about is Pitts. I personally was not in favor of this draft pick whenever it happened. I was highly against it. I thought they needed to draft a quarterback, learn from Matt Ryan. That way they eventually had a franchise quarterback, and they didn't. They went with Pitts. Pitts is actually turning out to be that guy. I truly believe that Pitts will eventually be the number 1 tight end in the league. So congratulations, Falcons. You guys got yourself one hell of a tight end.
I will agree there with Pitts. I think that eventually he might go down potentially as the number 1 tight end of all time. He has that potential. I think I put Mike Gesicki in there. He's tearing it up for the Dolphins. He's Tua's number 1 target outside of Jalen Waddle, the number 1 pick. I know some people are going to fight me on Gesicki because he lines up at wide receiver more than he does tight end, but he's classified as a tight end, so I'm ranking him as a tight end. I'm just going what position he's listed at.
Fair enough.
Darren Waller, and I think Mark Andrews, like you said, is killing it. I think there's no argument here for me there. So happy belated National Tight Ends Day. We're going to go on to our next segment. Speaking of Kyle Pitts and rookies, we're going to go to the other rookies at wide receiver. Last week we discussed the quarterbacks in this segment of star bust, or too early to tell. So we're going to go with wide receivers. Taylor, your opinion, star, bust, too early to tell on Jamar Chase.
Star, 100%. He may not be able to see the football because there's no white stripes on there, but the kid has talent, and he's going to go down as a fairly decent wide receiver
Fairly
at the
decent.
least. At the least, fairly decent wide receiver.
I will say, I will agree there. Jamar Chase is a star in the making if he's not already there. He's second in the league against wide receivers in receiving yards as a rookie. I think that stands for itself. Our next receiver, we're going to go Kadarius Toney for the Giants. Star,
Ooh.
bust, or too early to tell?
As of right now, I'm going to say too early to tell because of the injury. I know it's not a huge injury, but it's still an injury. And as you see with Giants players, injuries lead to a downfall. So I'm going to say too early to tell, but I assume in the future he will definitely be a star.
All right, I will have to agree. I think that with his injuries, he's shown some couple games where he was unstoppable, but he is injured. So I think it's too early to tell, but he has big time star potential, and that's just my opinion. I think he will be a star in the future once he gets those injuries fixed. Next wide receiver, we're going to go out to Philly with Devontae Smith.
Too early to tell. His quarterback doesn't really give him the opportunities to shine. He was a great player. He definitely has some things he needs to work on, but I'm just going to say too early to tell right now.
I will agree. I think he's flashed in plays where he gets the ball. Last week against the Raiders, he had an incredible catch. Got 2 feet in somehow. We got the first down. But I think that quarterback play is really hurting him. I still think that he has big-time star potential in that Marvin Harrison style. He just needs a quarterback. And unfortunately for him, he can't do nothing about that. It's like Kadarius Toney a little bit, although Danny Dimes is turning it around. Our next wide receiver we are going to go to is Jalen Waddle out in the Dolphins.
I'm going to say too early to tell because the team he's on, straight up. I feel like if he got himself a really good quarterback, I think that dude could absolutely put on a show. So as of right now, I'm just going to say too early to tell because I think we could see a lot more from him.
I agree. I think in the games for the Dolphins, he put up 80 yards last week. He's putting up about 60 yards a game, which isn't bad.
No.
I think Tua being hit or miss every game is really hurting him.
Yep.
And I think he has, again, star potential. I think it's more really good starter potential. I don't think he has necessarily star, like, true number one potential, but a star receiver that you could be like, hey, I got Jalen Waddle on my team, I'm hype. I think he has that potential. We'll see how it goes. We'll see if he continues to develop, but it is too early to tell. Is there a wide receiver that I'm missing in the first round? Rashad Bateman for the Ravens. First game, he got to play this last week against the Bengals.
I mean, way too early to tell.
He's like an egg right now. We're just looking at it like, what's going to come out of that? Like,
yeah, way too early to tell for him.
Yeah, he's an egg in a raven's nest. Yep. I think, again, he has potential. I don't think he'll ever be a true number one, but we'll see. And our last one in the first round was Elijah Moore for the New York Jets.
I mean, he's playing for the Jets. I mean,
sorry, Jets fans.
Look, you're giving me somebody who's playing for the Eagles. You're giving me somebody who's playing for Miami. You're giving me somebody who's playing for the Giants, and now we got somebody playing for the Jets. I can't really judge these wide receivers based off of anything I've seen other than Jamar Chase. I mean, he's just in a shitty situation. I'm sorry, crappy situation.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think as of right now there's anything to say other than unknown.
I would agree. Yeah. He's unknown, but in the plays he's got last week against the Patriots, he's shown flashes. I think the Jets really need to make it a focal point of getting him and Denzel Mims, their last year's first-round wide receiver, the ball. I think...
Hey, Flacco could turn it around and actually give us a spotlight on the kid. You know, he might be able to get him some passes downfield and give us something to see.
We'll see. We'll see what Joe Flacco can do. Joe Faco is what I call him. Always thought he was overrated. All right, that concludes our star, bust, or too early to tell segment this week for the rookie wide receivers. Next week, we're going to go to our rookie running backs. So stay tuned for that. And other news, over there in Philadelphia, we talked about Devontae Smith. Jason Kelsey calls out Ben Simmons of the NBA for the Philadelphia 76ers and says, basically, if you just played better, the city would root for you. The city is a good city to play sports in, whether it's football or basketball. You just have to play well, and you have to hold yourself accountable, and it's all about self-accountability, basically. And basically, Ben Simmons is being a baby right now. Now, I will say Ben Simmons, he's talking about his mental health in regards to him. I hope your mental health as well. But I will agree with Jason Kelsey here. If you play well, the city, whatever city you play for, is going to love you. It's fans. Like, no one's going to root for someone who's not playing well. So, in that case, we're going to roll off who is in the NFL right now needs to play better for their city. Maybe their city's disappointed in them and how they're playing. Who is your pick on who needs to play better?
Who needs to play better? I mean, there's the obvious, but I'm not going to go the obvious. The obvious would be Patrick Mahomes. I'll probably let you take that one in a minute. Mm-hmm. I'm going to go with Jared Goff for the Detroit Lions. When he played with the Rams, he wasn't a bad quarterback. I mean, he went to the Super Bowl. I don't think they went to the Super Bowl because of Jared Goff, but he is a decent quarterback that's not playing to the best of his abilities right now. Detroit needs some type of hope, and I think Jared Goff needs to step up and complete some better passes and help his team get down the field and score more, because they have the pieces there to win some of these games that they've lost. It just comes down to Jared Goff either not managing the time well or just missing passes that he should be completing. So, in my opinion, Jared Goff.
I would agree there. The Lions do have the pieces. They're tied to Matt Carroll of Ole Miss. I think that a new rookie quarterback that can learn, I think he turns that thing around. I think Jared Goff, flash in a pan, man. Got the Rams to the Super Bowl, and that's it. Like,
most likely.
It's kind of like a Trent Dilfer. Like, not really an over-top good quarterback, but got carried by a very solid defense and a solid team.
He'll make a great backup quarterback someday.
Yeah, he will. So let's go into my guy, my pick that needs to play better for his city, the Kansas City Chiefs. If I'm in Missouri right now watching my team, I'm in misery watching how Patrick Mahomes is playing right now. This season, he has thrown a pick in every game outside of last game. He's 18-9, has 9 interceptions. That's the most interceptions he's had since his 50-12 season, but you threw 50 touchdowns, 12 interceptions is okay. He's 18-9. He has a 97.9 passer rating. Again, I think he has the ability to turn around, but he's playing like his Texas Tech days where he's just hoping that someone's down there. And I think Tyreek Hill not being able to get as open as he used to be this season. I'm not saying Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill's still one of the top receiving leaders this season. But I think that is hurting him. And not having a running game is hurting Patrick Mahomes. And the Chiefs themselves as a whole need to turn it together. But Patrick Mahomes has to be a leader of that team. And he needs to rally the troops and hold himself accountable for his play and his players. I think he needs to turn it around and get that Ben Simmons treatment of just play better, bro. Just play better.
Yep.
So we're going to go on. We talked about who needs to play better. Who is playing better than we expected? Who's playing better than you expected this season?
The entire Bengals team. I mean, Joey Burrow's coming off an injury and surgery. They didn't draft anybody up front to help protect him. Granted, they went out and picked up his teammate from LSU, but I didn't really expect the Bengals to be where they're at right now. So 100% the Bengals. I mean, they have some Bengals team in general, the entire organization, coaching staff, water boys, you name it, the entire staff.
All right. I will agree the Bengals have been playing pretty well. Who's been playing better than I've expected? Danny Dimes. of the New York Giants. I know you've got your own opinions on Daniel Jones.
Yep, I do.
But the first three games this year against Carolina, the Rams, and Dallas Cowboys, you're right. He was garbage, 100% garbage. But the past 4 games versus New Orleans, Atlanta, Washington, and Denver, he's had over a 90.9 rating. He's only been in the 90s twice out of those 2 games. He's thrown 4 touchdowns and 1 interception in those games. So I think he's turned it around. Combined, yeah. 4 touchdowns, 1 interception in the past 4 games, and hasn't slipped underneath 90% quarterback rating since then. I think he's turning it around. I think feeding Kadarius Toney those couple games has kind of liked that fuel, but also opened up. I think Sterling Shepard being hurt, but also not playing well when he's in. I mean, he's dropping everything. It's hurt Daniel Jones. Yeah. And then the Giants are just hurt, and I think Jason Garrett needs to be fired. I think even when he was with the Cowboys, he can't call plays. Him like Nick Sirianni, the Philadelphia Eagles, go to Madden. They go to the rookie playbook, pick 5 plays, and they're like, we're sticking to it. And so no matter who's quarterback, no matter who's the running back, no matter who's the receivers, pile that on top of injuries, and you're going to be picking at the top of the draft every season. So Jason Garrett, get out of here. I think Daniel Jones, Danny Dimes, is playing way better than I ever expected him to. I think he's finally figuring it out. So with that, we're going to go into our hot takes. Right. We've talked about a lot of it. We've talked about Daniel Jones, Mac, the Bengals and all that. What is your hot take, your takeaway that you just want people to kind of mustard and think about?
Look, my hot take's going to be the same until I see something change. Okay. Washington football team. Sign Cam Newton. Okay, you don't have a single quarterback on your roster that's a franchise quarterback for the next 5 years. Cam Newton has a minimum of 4 good years left in him. Okay, minimum 4 years. Sign the man. Give him a job. Show the Patriots that they missed out on a great quarterback. Whatever you want to call it. Sign the man. You guys have a decent football team. You're just missing a good quarterback. That's all you need. Sign Cam Newton, and you guys will be possibly in the top 5 of NFL teams by the end of the season. I don't know, but that's just my take. I think Cam Newton would give you guys a chance at winning. That's going to be my hot take every single episode until I see something change.
All right. Well, my hot take is, of course, Jalen Hurts. Eagles fans, Jalen Hurts is who you thought he was, and you let him off the hook. You fell in love with the rinse do every day line, and that loss was like a giant turd. You just got to flush it. Those little one-liners, you're like a movie fan. You fall in love with the one-liner from the cool Western movies, and you fall in love, and you're like, that's a great movie, but in reality, that's a horrible movie. You just fell in love with one scene. And you can't fall in love with the one scene. You got to look at the bigger picture from start to finish. Jalen Hurts is throwing it behind his receivers, away from his receivers. He's not even throwing it to his receivers, unless you consider the other team his receivers. So I think Jalen Hurts is not the answer. He was never the answer. I said this last year. I think Carson Wentz had one bad year. I think it was a fluke. He was throwing it to Greg Ward and Travis Fulgham with a hurt offensive line, and then the Eagles traded him way too early. But unfortunately, Carson wanted out of Philly as well, thanks to the Philly fans out there. And everyone was calling for Jalen. Guess what? You got Jalen, and it hurts. It hurts bad. So that's my hot take. I think the Eagles still stake with Jalen Hurts for one more season because this draft class is not too hot on quarterbacks. And then the following year, you've got a loaded team with Caleb Williams, Anthony Richardson, C.J. Stroud, Bryce Young, all coming out at the quarterback position, and you got plenty of picks. But Jalen Hurts, I'm sorry, you're a backup quarterback that's wearing a Halloween mask as a starter. Simple as that in the spirit of Halloween.
Damn.
So that's my hot take. We do have our conclusions. So in conclusion, we've talked about Pat Mahomes. We've talked about Jalen Hurts. We've talked college football. We've talked to the NFL. You guys have heard of our opinions. Is there anything else you want to say to wrap up this the show, Taylor?
If you got a problem with anything I've said, the comments are always open, just like last time. I'll be in there. I'll be reading. If you got anything to say, let me hear it, because I'm always down to discuss, always down to listen, learn, you name it. See you in the comments.
I will agree. If you have anything against us, write it in the comment section. Not against us personally, but against our takes. If you have anything,
Yeah, if you got personal things, throw it out there.
yeah, throw it out there. Throw it out in the comment section. There is a chance that we may take your comment and bring it into the next episode of Sideline to Sideline, where you might be featured and we might discuss your take and our opinions on it. So write those comments down there, share to your friends our show, and it could be your comment we talk about. So Taylor, I'd like to thank you for always being the best co-host out there.
Yes, sir.
And I think that about sums it up. Thank you guys. And remember, new episodes every Wednesday. Check us out. Make sure you hit that subscription button and make sure you turn on the bell and notifications for whenever we upload a new video every Wednesday. Thank you guys.